I believe it's Senator Smith.
Great. Thank you so much, Chair Murkowski and Vice Chair Schatz. I want to just follow up on this line of questioning that Senator Schatz was getting on. I think I will turn to you, Mr. Spaan. The whole point of ISDEAA was to promote sovereignty and to change the relationship between the federal government and sovereign tribal nations to kind of end the paternalism that characterized the federal government's relationship with tribes. And so it seems to me that tribal consultation is sort of a foundation of this relationship, and for changes to be made to ISDEAA without tribal consultation, it seems like it kind of goes at the foundation of this. So could you just, and I've asked other folks in the administration at other times around this, and I want to be clear, I don't think that this is, both Democratic and Republican administrations need to be better at this. So I'm not making a partisan point here, but could you just talk a bit more about what that tribal consultation means and why it is important, and where you are seeing some breakdowns in the system that would, if we improve that, would save us a lot of time and money?
Thank you, Senator Smith. We definitely believe that tribal consultation is essential for making this relationship work, particularly under a self-governance partnership. Tribes are implementing and administering these programs, and so every decision that the federal agency makes impacts the tribe and how they operate. We saw the example recently with changes to the Section 105L guide, in which there was some changes that DOI has said they do not believe are substantial. Tribes disagree significantly. It's changed the way that appraisals are being done. It's requiring 3 comparables, which for rural and especially Alaska Native villages is impossible to get.
Right.
There's been discussions with appraisers that have been doing these Section 105L agreements for years, and they have all said this is a complete change of how we operate. So these types of changes are a big problem. There was changes with how interpersonnel agreements were made at IHS. This has caused tribes to steer away from using these agreements. These are very critical pieces and tools that Congress gave tribes to make sure the success of self-governance. So making these types of changes without input and understanding how it affects tribes is very concerning, and we do urge the agencies to do consultation before making any of these changes.
And even if you were to, remove from the equation, in all fairness, the question of motive, you could, why would you make these changes without doing the proper consultation? You could certainly conclude that it increases kind of the waste in the system, right? The time that's wasted, the money that's wasted. This is the beauty of appropriate consultation, is that it protects everybody from that huge downside, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Chief Hoskins, I really appreciated your testimony and your elucidation of the power of self-governance agreements to really unleash the creativity and the entrepreneurship and the power, the economic power, and all of the power of Native people. And I'm just thinking about particularly the 638 authorities and what a difference that means. If you didn't have that, what would you not have been able to do? What impact would that have had if that authority was not there for your people?
Well, thank you, Senator. I think just comparing this Indian Health Service facility in Claremore, again, to repeat, I was born there. Actually, I was born in the old one. So the new one came after I was born, and it's now old and it needs to be replaced. But you can imagine a world, we don't have to imagine it, we can see a world in which we go into, and this is my friend, Mr. Smith. I won't ask him this question, but he would admit that Cherokee Nation runs circles around the Indian Health Service just because of our system. You go across all of our facilities, they're state-of-the-art, they're world-class. We're driven to put the patient at the center, build out from there, put every penny of third-party revenue, which we're generating on a much higher rate than the Indian Health Service has ever done, and putting it right back into not only conventional health care, but wellness centers, other ways to look at healthcare holistically. We can plan that. We can lean into diabetes care. We can eradicate hepatitis C by working with a pharmaceutical company. We can make sure we give our people a place to learn and do better and learn better about nutrition because we decided it. That does not happen
Right.
in a world without 638
And you are
contracts.
always, I mean, in my book, you are always going to know what works best and how to do it best because you're closest to the issues, you're close to the people. And so, you know, it seems to me just sort of, you know, self-evident. And I know I'm out of time, Madam Chair, but I want to just make a point here, and maybe this could be a follow-up with Mr. Belmard that we could follow up on, you know, later. But it's become so clear to me that there are many federal agencies and folks in federal agencies that don't fully understand the power of 638 authority. I've worked for quite a long time with the Department of Agriculture to try to break through this. You've been so helpful to me, Mr. Spaan, as we've been trying to figure out in a bipartisan way how to get self-governance authority for full authority for the FDIPR program and for tribal food sovereignty. And clearly there's a lot of folks in the federal government who just don't know what to do. And I think this is a big opportunity, Mr. Belmard, for the folks in your area who do know, maybe if they're still there, who do know what to do. And so I'd like to follow up with you on this and how we can get a commitment to work more closely together so that we can break down some of these barriers on the agency side that Mr. Spaan has highlighted.
Thank you, Senator Smith. I appreciate what you have said about that because in my experience, there are clearly departments that get 638 contracting and how it works and the benefits. And then there are others where there is almost a cultural resistance. And we got to figure out how we break that down.